it was a little bit of a moment of like, I guess, disbelief. It was, it's been such a long progression to this point. And I remember the first person that I saw that I recognized was obviously Coach Tom right at the end. And he looked at me and, the big word on our team is, a big phrase is we always say, prove it. And he looked at me and I looked at him and he said, we were like, proved it. That was a cool moment. It honestly didn't even register that I made it to NCAAs at that point. It was just a moment of, I got the individual title. It's obviously something that's on every single person on our teams, if not the conference's minds. And just to be lucky and fortunate enough to have that, to just achieve that was a really cool moment. I'm not gonna lie, I felt pretty garbage. You could probably see in the face pictures. I was like, oh, that was not my best picture to say the least. No, not very photogenic. But like it was just that last mile. It was just me and those three Richmond guys left, and obviously tough because running as a team versus me as an individual didn't make things necessarily easy. They definitely tried to take their shot on the last mile there a couple times on me, but a big strategy for that race that Tom and I settled on, and Tyler as well, was and Sam, was just patience. That course runs fairly fast. It was a windy day, so that kind of changed things, and just knowing my strengths in my race strategy, it was just a game of patience. And coming around the back stretch before the home stretch, it was literally that spot in particular. Tom and I had pointed out and been like, if I go there, that's okay. It's a little bit late, a little bit risky, but and that's just the way the race played out. So it was just the game of patience, and I got that moment at the end was pretty special because it just felt very completing, satisfying. I guess the word is what I describe it as long time to now, and it just felt like that big first jump done. So yeah, nothing ever compares to that moment last year when we won as a team. Is the best moment I've had, and probably will be the best moment I've had at my time at LaSalle. Just to win with guys that have been working so hard together every single day. It just nothing to describe that, between like Hawthorne and Boyle and Gillis and Ibrahim and newcomers Alex last year and all the guys that were running. It was just a big moment, Ryan, too, of just like, we did it. And for a lot of us came in that year. I came in, Gillis was a transfer, Boyle and Ryan came in that same as freshmen that year. Hawthorne just came in the year before, and it was Tom sat us down the very first day we came here, maybe the second day it was, and he said, we brought you guys in here to get this trophy. And there was that moment in my sophomore year where we got second at that same course we ran this past Friday, and it really sucked. And it was a big lesson for all the guys. We worked our asses off that season, and we lost only by 3 points that year to Dayton. And Tom looked at us and he said, it doesn't start next year. It doesn't start in the summer. It doesn't start next fall. It starts now. And I think that really stuck with us. And right from that, 365 days later, we brought that momentum forward to last year's championship. And to carry that through made last year just so much more special. Obviously, I had my shot at the individual title last year, but that's two guys that ended up winning, Zach and Deshaun from St. Joe's and Ryan Kutch from Fordham. They're just hell of a competitors, to be honest. Like, hats off to those guys. And even like just the register of coming third didn't really even matter, just because it was that team victory. Flash forward to this year, the goal was definitely knowing that the championship, because of unique circumstances of COVID, the individual champion did get to go to NCAAs. There's a lot more pressure on myself, especially being the number one returner, to get that. And it felt so good to finally achieve that, just coming through this whole level of like freshman to sophomore, junior to this year, like I said before, is really satisfying. But, I think for the younger guys, it really stung. Unfortunately for the older guys, I guess, we've been through this situation. We've been second before, just 2 years ago. But I think that's where you could really see like the leadership on the team really step up. And instead of Coach Tom telling us, it doesn't start next year, it starts tomorrow, it was like the older guys, including Ryan, Matt Bridger, myself, and Joe Boyle, Ibrahim Kadir, all those guys who've, been through this circuit before, been in this position, telling the younger guys, sophomores, freshmen, that there's a right way and there's a wrong way to take this. And I think that's really important. I think 2 years ago we did take it the right way, and look where it brought us to this next year. And I think that's what we're going to carry through this moment. Tom texted me the next day and he said, even though the team result might have been, this was a big step forward for our team. And I think it's, success never comes easy. And I'd like to say that cross country is the least forgiving sport in the world. It's lots of injuries, lots of hard work and early mornings and miles, but it just makes those victories so amazing and so great, especially when you got to do it as a team. So I think, definitely different feelings moving out of it. Like I can definitely see the guys they're collecting back up together this week, already getting ready for a good track season. So that's really good to see. Individually focusing on nationals is a new experience. So yeah, I think it's just, they're two very different, but I think that the team win was just so much more special. I always, and I guess because Boyle and I are seniors and we've kind of seen the team coming from a 5th place team to the 1st place team last year, unfortunately 2nd this year, but just the progression of the team culture and identity. My sophomore year, that 2nd place was definitely, I think, a big moment for the team. And I didn't really realize how big of a moment it was for the team until, I continued to realize how it impacted different people. I was 19th, like you said, that year. And I think I very much underperformed that season. I was able to come back 2 weeks later at NCAA regionals and lead the team, which was an awesome experience. And I think that was my first step forward. But the word I think I described for that was responsibility. And I found out that every single person on that team took responsibility for getting 2nd because we were only 3 points off. So I was beating myself up. But, within a couple of weeks, I learned that, a couple of days later, I actually found out Coach Matt took responsibility for that 2nd and not that 1st. And that made me feel a little bit better. And then I found out that Ebe, who was just a freshman at the time, who had that incredible 4th place finish that year, he took responsibility for it, and so did Nick and Ryan. And I think that was a moment for our team to realize that we care so much about this team, and that's who we are, our identity. We want to be winners, and that's how we carried it through. So I think that's where you can see a real progression from like that sophomore cross season into that winter indoor season. That's when I started to see some real big gains, and luckily I got my first individual medal. We got that a 1st and a 2nd in the conference relays. There was IC4As. That year, I really started to see progression, and I think that carried through the motion. Tom, I think it learned more about me as an individual, as what works with my training. Unfortunately, my training involves 100-mile weeks, which isn't fun. But it's what works, and it clearly has had its advantages to me. So that was a cool moment to have those things start to come together. We don't talk about the spring of that year. I got the flu, so that was not a fun experience. But that next fall we came back. Everyone had that motivation to be like, we didn't do it last year, we're doing it this year. We carried it through, and then that's the identity, that belief on the team still exists, and I'm really proud to see where the team is now compared to freshman year. Although we didn't get 1st, I think there's nothing against With all honesty, I think Richmond they just had a better day than us. I think some of their guys may have had some of the best performances of their lives. I think maybe I don't think it was our attitude. I don't think it was anything like that. I think it was more the sense just that they beat us at our game. And like I said, individually, I'm very happy, but it's still a little bit of a sting because obviously the team title is, it's a team sport too, right? But carrying it forward, I think it's going to help the team, especially for the guys that didn't get to experience that second place sting before, to live with that, to know what it feels like. It helped us so much last year, and I think it's going to help us so much more moving forward. And even when I'm passed on, because I think we have a very blue collar culture on our team. Another phrase that Tom uses is, and it's every day it's just chopping wood and hauling water. And you work hard and you chop wood and you haul water. And when you have that attitude towards training and just pushing through, no matter how much it hurts, how much it may suck, how much the results might not be showing it, when you have that blue collar attitude as a team, I think great things are coming. And I think even evidence of 4 people in the top 8 was evidence of this team is definitely getting better. We're not slowing down by any means. And, I'm frankly really excited to see what we're able to do next year. Yeah. It's just like the feeling of a lot of pride and a lot of excitement, a little bit of nerves, but nerves are good. Just the pride of just representing this team and this history, and trying to, make the damages and the inroads against these incumbent teams that have been there forever. And the goal for me right now is to, make people know that LaSalle's coming big time. And I think that's been my goal since I've come here day one, is to make LaSalle, one of those programs that, you can't disregard, and you got to look at them, different, because we work harder, and we're going to show it that we work harder. A lot of excitement, a lot of nerves, like I said, excitement, coming off of COVID 2020, a lot of letdowns of, we're going to have an outdoor season. No, we go home. We're going to have a fall season. No, that's not happening. A lot of other, just things at home. And, there's a lot of disappointment in the last year, and, coming into the new year with the winter cross, which is a little bit different, setting goals high and getting there was a really, really exciting moment. I think just being able to represent and get myself there. I know my family is beyond excited. They might be calling me a little bit too often. I'm like, you guys, it's 2:00 on a Monday. I might have school or something, but they're really proud of me, and I'm happy that they're all rooting for me, and then all my friends back home as well, and just people on campus. It's a really cool experience, but I know the pressure is there, and I think the pressure is good. I think that people want to see me do well, and I want to see myself do well. I think I want to make my mark out there. We've had our previous representatives at the national meet. I think the write-up surprised me when it said that Sean Quigley was the last guy to do it, and Sean Quigley is a living legend at LaSalle. We have this big picture on the wall, and I want to carry that tradition forward. I want to but also make a little bit of my own, start a little bit of its own course of history for this team and the guys that I got to work with, and just the future.